You still
Oh,
can't?
no, we're good. I think. No, I'm good. It says I'm recording.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
You got
God.
it.
Thank you.
You figured it out.
That's
You
good.
all,
Okay, so we're both recording now. Okay, cool.
hello, humans.
Hello, world.
This is Kyle.
Yeah,
You all
I
know
don't.
Kyle.
This is Andrew. Sorry, but yeah, we've been having good conversation thus far, and we just figured out how, or I just figured out how to get the recording going. So welcome to anybody who might enjoy this.
So you're Kyle. You're one of like 5 people that watch my videos. So thank you very much.
They're pretty good.
Oh, thank you. Um,
I mean, to to lay it out there, I disagree with a lot of what you say in your videos, but I still enjoy your content very much.
what year is this? This isn't how people talk. This isn't
Yeah,
how
no, right?
our arc. I love our arc. I hope it continues.
Yeah.
And so I think what I will title tentatively this video will be something like leftist differentiation. Because as you mentioned, I often just broadly associate you with the left.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I do it on purpose, but I also do understand that you're not entirely with them. And so we're going to try and clarify some things.
Exactly. Like when you say that, I immediately think about the fact that the left right wing spectrum in America is just completely skewed. And the fact that I consider myself part of the left, I'm generally talking about the fact that I consider myself like progressive in the way that people were like 100 years ago, when we were in that party system of America that was basically where it was like you were Republican, you were progressive, you were Democrat, you were progressive. It was the progressive era. And that really, I think, is what I wanted to talk about is party politics and the fact that both parties operate in a duopoly and we act like they're like binary, and that's not the case at all.
Yes, I agree with you. When you talk about you being an old school liberal, I think is the term potentially. I don't think you used those. Yeah, so you didn't use those terms, but so to me, that's what I would have grouped you in with the old school liberals. So now, can you tell me what the difference is between the liberals of 100 years ago and the old school liberals?
Well, I said progressives. So I guess if you, well, to answer your question, what I really did mean progressives, like liberals, like I would have to, the way I think of liberals is almost like libertarians. And I guess I would ask your question or answer your question with another question is like, how do you differentiate liberalism and libertarianism?
Shoot. I wanted to ask you another question on our initial train. So I'm going to note that liberalism.
Okay, so well, to answer your question though, I do like I identify with the progressives of 100 years ago. a progressive tax rate, a strong social welfare system, anti-interventionism, basically like what the progressives of 100 years ago were all about is kind of where I'm at.
Okay, and I wasn't
Crazy
trying to
because it
put
was exactly 100 years ago. Sorry.
I wasn't trying to put words in your mouth. Let me explain. I used those terms specifically because you remind me of, and I hate it when people associate, you with someone, because it's usually in an ad hominem fashion, but this is, in my sense, a complimentary fashion. You remind me of Dave Rubin. Obviously, you're not gay, and I don't even know if you know who Dave Rubin is.
I hate him.
You hate him. Okay, but see, I see your values as very similar to his. And so this is connected in that I agree that we exist in a duopoly and that things are broken. I feel like you and I represent the different sides of the culture war, not in the extreme fashion, but in the close to the center fashion. And so we have a responsibility to try and reach across the bridge, not just to the other side, but also to the other side of our community. So the extremes within our community, in addition to the people who are close to us on the other side. And why I often then just associate you with the left is because that, sorry, my cat's going crazy. I associate you with the left is because I do not see community accountability. Not that it's your responsibility necessarily. However, I do believe if you continue to align with any left-leaning ideologies or political parties, it's the identity politics, as you mentioned, is growing, and it's kind of scary. And so I think these efforts that we're engaging in are they're good and they're valuable. And so I'm sorry for associating you with Dave Rubin because you hate him.
Oh no, he's just I'm sorry, like I think he considers himself a journalist and like he's just not like I feel bad saying I hate him. Like honestly, like that was just a gut reaction because I'm like you, man. I don't want to hate anybody. Honestly, well, and like I don't have the time or like willingness to actually hate Dave Rubin. Like I just know that I don't like his content or his political philosophy. He all the time will be like the Democrats, and then the same thing. Assume that is the left, and this is what I'm talking about. Is that there really isn't like a leftist like political party, like uh, you said political party specifically, and there really isn't a political party in this country that is left. Like the Socialist Party in America is like 5 people. It exists, but like it's not a big thing. The Democratic Socialists in the House of Representatives and the Congress make up a very, 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 very small part of the Democratic Party. So like, and even those like progressives, they participate in this rainbow capitalism where they have people like Facebook like getting everybody to share the equality square or all this stuff, and it's like how do people actually think Facebook is like a leftist organization? Because they're just not.
Yes, people actually do believe Facebook is a leftist organization. But let's take it one step further. And when I talk about the culture wars, people believe that there is a communist takeover occurring in America right now. And it's not a fringe movement of people, it's not a small amount of people. If you want to go one step further, because in our email exchange, you did mention potentially discussing spirituality. There is a great awakening occurring. And so, whatever layer you want to try and dissect this within, we can use the words or vernacular to be semantically pedantic if you want, but let's go to the top first. It's good and evil. It's good versus evil. As we trickle down, it gets more convoluted and complicated. And I'm not saying at the bottom that the left or the right are the good or the evil, because that's not the case at all. But ugh,
No, this is I want to drill down on this because I hear this all the time, and I just like it honestly like kind of makes me laugh because like what's your definition of communism? Oh, okay, if you don't want to go there, then would you would you not agree that the current global system is neoliberal globalism? And I just don't see where you're getting communism. And once again, every time we have this conversation, I'm not gaslighting you. I swear to God, I'm not. But I just don't see, if you're talking about like Marxism and the decommodification of all markets and the
oh, let me. Okay. Yep. I lost you.
no, that this is all me. Like when this happens, it's me. I'm sorry.
It actually happened at a really good time because I felt my heart rate rising, and then you just froze, and I'm like, good, I can do some breathing. So
Okay.
I'd like to respond where I believe we last left off on my recording, which was you just saying you don't I don't know if you said you don't see how communism is at play here, essentially. And I want to go back to saying that this is not a small group of people that believe this. And me personally, my mission is to focus on the next level, the Great Awakening level, which is the good versus evil level, which transcends identity politics and it transcends gender. It just identity politics. We agree that our government is broken. Uh, I'm sorry, I stated that as a matter of fact, but I think based on our conversations, or let me ask you, are you yet disenfranchised with our institutions?
I guess I would have to say partially. I'm
Thank
not.
you
I'm
for
not. I'm not into absolutes anymore.
well played. Yes. Okay.
I was for a long time.
And
Dude, I'm a teacher. I have to be at least somewhat involved in the institutions.
yeah, yes. Well, and institutions are an inevitable construct. Plus, the best way to reform is often from within. But the Great Reset, globalism, and the neoliberal globalism that you mentioned, I you were saying I do agree that the global sort of operating program is the guise of neoliberalism, but I don't think we've been actually existing in a neoliberal framework. I believe that it is actually being more fascist, and more people are waking up to the tyranny that has been normalized for generations and internalized, but that creeps out in other unhealthy ways in our toxic and traumatized culture.
Okay, so I just have to drill down on the terms. Sorry, I'm sorry. Because of
That was a
something
great,
you just said.
yes.
Because yeah, and dude, I literally taught my kids fascism like last week. Literally, I was like, "Oh, this guy named Benito Mussolini." I'm sorry, but if you want to like argue it, we can historically. Uh, Fascism was invented in Italy. I taught my kids this. Fascism is necessarily, definitionally, nationalist. You cannot be globalist and nationalist. They are antithetical. So you were just talking about how you think my definition or description of the current system as global neoliberalism, and you said it was more fascist. I just can't agree with that because fascist is by definition nationalist. It's not globalist. And that's fine. Like it's a global authoritarianism I could maybe get on board with. But like you've said it before, I'm really careful about the words that I use. So and dude, I'm actually apprehensive to even call Donald Trump a fascist anymore because he technically was not a dictator. I mean, even though he didn't peacefully transition power, I like the fact that the January 6th events did not keep him in power. That means he's not a dictator. So like fascism is by definition nationalistic and dictatorial. So neither Joe Biden, because he's a globalist, and Donald Trump, because he is not technically a dictator, neither of them are technically fascists. They are fascistic, and we can both point out how they are, but are they like definitionally fascist? Not really. Sorry. Like teaching government and history has put me in this position.
So when our tax dollars pay to fund the research and development of a product that is then required by the government for you to take, how is that not fascism?
I literally just said that Biden and Trump have fascistic tendencies, and I wasn't talking about his federal mandates or anything like that, which is actually also laid out by law. But yeah, if you want to say Biden's a fucking fascist for making or for forcing people to have a vaccine, that's not really a conversation I'm prepared to have, like at all. I was just saying that he's not a fascist because he's a globalist, and fascism is definitionally ultra nationalism is a feature of fascism. And I'm sorry, like unless you're going to talk about how American or United States hegemony is dominant, then maybe we could talk about his fascism. But if you're talking about the vaccine, I'm just not really prepared to have that conversation. And I didn't think we were going to. So I know it went there, but I didn't really want to have that conversation.
I didn't think we were going to get wrapped up in semantics again, because you yourself have used the word fascistic, which is the same as me using the word fascist to describe a portion of reality. You
Wait,
are
no.
admitting to fascistic tendencies of our existence while telling me I can't use the word fascist. That makes no sense, because you admitted fascistic tendencies. That's what I'm talking about, is that there are fascistic elements of our existence that have been normalized. But again, let's get away from the semantics and get back to good versus evil. More and more people are waking up to how evil the constructs of our institutions have been. That's what I'm talking about when I say more fascist. We could say more totalitarian or authoritarian, whatever word you want to use for evil.
Okay.
So, when talking about our leaders like Joe Biden and Donald Trump, there is a global game occurring, but the average individual doesn't play that game. They play it in little ways, but the average American has a fit. Well, not anymore. I don't know anymore, but so yes, let's find a different word. The global game is, but that's what I'm talking about when I say neoliberal globalism is what's purported. That's what they say is going on, but that's not what's actually going on. And see, and this is a point that I had that I was wanting to bring up with you, is that you talk a lot of academic ideals where I'm trying to talk real life scenarios, and there are culture war ramifications to this, because the left side of the culture war, let's just make it just the left side of the culture war, they use ideals and academia to create their utopian propaganda. The right side of the culture war uses the American dream and the pull yourself up by the bootstraps mentality to create their propaganda. All the while, the globalist people at the top are the ones that are winning, and the average Americans are the ones getting fucked more and more and more, decade after decade.
Was there a question? I like, yeah. I don't. I don't really want to talk about the culture war.
But we have to.
So what? Yeah, well, and like it, I guess it's relevant to like the topic that we were supposed to talk about, which is the difference between um, Democrats and leftists. And this is once again like where it just breaks down in that,
Because
like,
there is no functional difference.
no, because there is no leftist party in America.
There is a leftist movement in America. Let's call it a movement then.
there's going to be left and right wing movements in any country. Like any nation state is going to have left and right wing movements. So what do you, so I guess like if we're going to talk about the culture war, and you're ultimately saying that the right wing of the culture war is standing on a higher moral ground.
No.
No, I'm sorry. Like I like I'm really actually trying to understand what you're saying.
Well, like what in
I
regards
thought
to
that's what
what?
you just said.
No. I said there's no the last thing I remember really saying there's no functional difference.
Between the left
No,
and
there's a
the right?
leftist move. There's a leftist movement. There's a leftist movement. Yes. So again, semantics. You say there's no leftist party. There is, but then so once see, but this is what's frustrating about talking to people that are like you, black people. I'm
You
kidding.
can't. I've said it multiple times. I'm a progressive. Like that's all you need to
Well,
call me.
no, so you will straw man my argument and say that there's no leftist party, and then you're like, oh well, there is, but there's only a few members. Well, so it's like, well, so there is a party, but you
Okay.
literally did that. No, stop.
Yeah.
Rewatch this video. You did that.
Oh yes. I
So
believe me. I will.
so it's frustrating trying to have these conversations with you because again, semantics is dividing us. There is a leftist party. There are multiple leftist parties. Size doesn't matter. Just ask my ex. But what I'm saying is, I don't even know. Like,
Okay, so what I'm saying is the furthest left people in the Democratic Party, Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, fucking Bernie Sanders, all these people would be considered center left, maybe internationally. That is what the point I'm trying to make is that on an international scale or historical scale, which, I'm fucking a history teacher, I'm a historian. That's really like where I think we're getting bogged down is the fact that like I continually revert back to historical precedent. So I don't believe that people are fascists just because they are fascistic. I know that there is no fucking left-wing party in the United States because our political spectrum is skewed to the right. And it has been since Ronald Reagan instituted the policy of neoliberalism. I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry that I get so mad, but like I I'm trying to red pill you.
that makes zero sense.
Good. It's funny, you think there's a communist takeover happening, and like, what do you think is the main contributor to the issues that you've been dealing with for the last 5 to 10 years? Is it communism? This crazy takeover of communism?
Do you want to go ahead and ask like a real question?
Oh no, you didn't ask me any questions, so I was just going like you tend to. Are those sunglasses or are they like transitions where they change color with the light spectrum? Because I was thinking about wearing sunglasses during this. I'll go get mine. Hold on. Because like this is dumb. I feel like you're mad at me. Like this is stupid. Why are we mad at each other? We're on the internet. Like, I'll be right back. So you're a millennial. You should appreciate like, well, first of all, I'm like wearing a Wu-Tang shirt. That's pretty good. But also, dude, these sunglasses make me feel like Macho Man Randy Savage. No? Are you still mad?
Yes, I think I am going to wave a white flag and say you won. Uh, I'm just tired at this point. It's been a long day. We can try again at another point. Thank you.